Alright, so quick comic review, just like 5 of them. I was gonna wait until I finish more, but I realized it's easier to review the comics I have finished, and then next week I can go over one final time all the comics that I'll be reading this month. Because I have added a few, because I got more. And all the ones I said, oh, I'm waiting on these, those have come in. There is one more that it's active on my account, but it's the home base, a library that has it, and that means any second now I could get it. So maybe they'll come in by next Wednesday, because I like to get Wednesday uploads. Every Wednesday I get an upload out. If it's 7 in the morning next week and 7 at night this week, then so be it. But I like it to be at least consistent on the day that I upload it. Every Wednesday, new video. Again, sometimes I do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, because it's comic calls and all that. But Wednesdays at the very least. But anyways, let's get right on with it. Let's get right to it. Survival Street. Now, I do have the second one. Did not finish the second one in time, obviously. But this is definitely a series that is very much on the nose about with its political commentary. Not subtle at all. And now that they have a different, like a more open output, or more open way of looking at things, I definitely wasn't as pissed off about this one. Like, it wasn't like, oh my god, there's a nurse that's so woke. No, it wasn't like that. Like it was the previous times I read this comic, but it was definitely, and again, it's way too on the nose. It's unsubtle as hell, and it just keeps going. And it's really, I don't know if it's over the top for as a joke or over the top because the writers legitimately think this is what America is going to be in a few years. Because if it's the latter, then I give this book a 5 out of 10 or 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10, I'd say. But if not, I'd give it a 6 out of 10. It's nothing I'm ever going to recommend too much, but I do like it a little bit more each time I read it. Written by James Asmus, by the way, he is definitely capable of more, better. Because everything else I've read by James Asmus is like leaps and bounds better than Survival Street, and that's taking out the politics. It's just kind of a mess. In general, it's just kind of a mess. I do like some things they bring up, like there. So, I enjoyed Gurgle. They wanted they're puppets, so they're gonna have weird names. But Gurgle's story, I always liked. I like, and it's obvious what it's supposed to be parodying or what it's supposed to be satirizing, and that is a great example of it doing it right. And I'm gonna spoil something because I just said drug addict, or did I? But where is it? It's even here. I know it's in the first chapter, and like so it's with ice cream instead of drugs, and I thought that was, it's over the top, but it's also a nice little satire. But then you have stuff that's like, oh, they want to give guns to babies. Oh, that's how our president's gonna be, and it's just kind of like it's unsubtle as hell. But I think that has to be over the top, and not even then. It's just it walks that line between being over the top and you being so against this one thing. And it's just like it's just not really. I don't know. It kind of felt like it was too disingenuous, but that's very small potatoes, especially this time. I didn't really mind it. And again, I think it's supposed to be over the top. And if it's supposed to be over the top, then fine. And, if that's how James Asmus feels, then fine. I'm not going to say that he's wrong for thinking this way. I'm one of those people nowadays that can say, hey, if you think this way, so be it, as long as you don't hurt anybody. Like, that's kind of how I stand on things. But definitely one that I will not read anytime soon. It's gonna be that. I only reread this one because the sequel was out, and I was like, all right, it's library's gotta get it for free. So 7 sequels. I get so weird about because I keep heard that. I should say it's so weird when I'm doing YouTube videos. I don't know how to regulate my voice, so it definitely hurt me. And I'm gonna ask, oh, are you doing YouTube? And it's really weird. So we have a few minutes. Make sure that shit's together. Alright, so 7 Secrets did definitely improve on a reread. And again, I do want to check out the second volume, but it's still a bit of a mess. It's still definitely targeted towards young adults in every single trope. It's not necessarily the trope, it's just that it always feels like it's intended for young adults, and it never tries to appease to other audiences the way that other young adult comics have. Like Wind by James Tynion is a good example. That is definitely young adult. You can tell it's young adult, but it's entertaining. It's well written enough. It's just this is written the way that there's no love interest, but it's just written in that way that's like, yeah, you're definitely for young adults, and a lot of narration and a lot of like saying how we feel rather than showing in the artwork, and just that kind of feel to it. And it gets better as it goes along. By the end, like the last 3 chapters are the best. Like really, really, really. I almost forgot how good it was, honestly, because I remember saying at the end. I always remember this. This is my second time reading it, and I remember the first time I had said, "Oh, I do want to check out Volume 2," and I was reading volumes. I was reading issues 1 and 2. I was like, "I said that. I think I'm gonna take that back." And then the second half came, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's why." So I'll give it that. 6 out of 10 though. Nah, 6.5, because it was at least better paced than Survival Street. Survival Street is just packed to the brim with text, and it's just really annoying at times. Necronomicon, a very ugly but pretty damn good book. This is definitely not Watchmen Alan Moore, but I like an Alan Moore comic that's not Watchmen. That says a lot. 7 out of 10. I would give it an 8 out of 10, but it did not need to get that ugly. Probably for a point, and they definitely don't like. I don't want to say too much, but I think that they were kind of going over. I shouldn't keep saying over the top. They were kind of going for dark comedy, slightly, because there is a trigger warning scene, but it's done in a weird fashion. Like it's not. Like I imagine it being in a movie. Like they made a movie about sorry, it's not Necronomicon, it's Neonomicon. But they made a theatrical adaptation of Neonomicon. It probably, like, people will be saying, "What the hell is this?" And they wouldn't take it seriously, but then you're supposed to take it seriously. So it felt like it was really strange the way they did that. But also did not need to be included. Like, not at all. And it just gets kind of worse. It gets kind of, again, really ugly. It's really strange. I do like the way that they did the villain of this story. If you know what I mean, if you read it, you know what I mean. I, again, don't want to spoil too much. But even then, it's just like, well, you could have done that. And that's not the way you do that. That's just kind of ugly. I know you're Avatar Press, and you can push the envelope, because I've read God's Not Dead, or whatever the God is Dead, I think it was. Yeah, it's God is Dead. It was the 8-volume series written by whoever wrote Stealth for Image Comics. I can't think of the name right now. Matt Costa. Or Mike Costa. It's Mike, it's either Matt, I think it's Matt Costa. But I like that one. That was over the top too. Like it was like rated R for everything. Borderline NC-17. Batman. Oh, see, I said 7 out of 10. I said 7 out of 10 for Neonomicon. Batman, Superman, like it just as much as I did the first time. Hopefully they have the rest of the series. 8 out of 10. Very well paced, like almost like near perfect pacing for this book. Then last, unfortunately, kind of least, is Hellblazer. Now, I don't think I like Simon Spurrier's writing, and it's kind of funny because I reread a book that I really liked from him, the first volume of Hellblazer. Let's call this Hellblazer Volume 2, just for clarity's sake. So Volume 1 I remember really liking. I was like, oh my god, it was so good, and it's my favorite Hellblazer book, and I agreed with everyone that was saying it was really good. And then I reread it, and I was like, it's kind of a mess, and I don't know what's going on at all. And that's the point, is to be very confusing and all over the place, and fine, but it's also just, like, I felt every single page of this book, no matter what issue I was reading. Like, and with this one, it does get better as it goes along. I like the whole, like, what happens in the last 2 issues. I like the movie thing, and like the little connections, little kind of satire meta-ness, but it was also just kind of, oh, I just got a joke. So I think, so they have him, Constantine, talking in an American accent, and I think it was making fun of the Keanu Reeves, poking fun at the Keanu Reeves Hellblazer movie, or Constantine movie, rather. But this one is not one that, I would say Garth Ennis's run is still much, much better than this one is. But this is definitely, but at the end of the day, everything else is great. The characters are great. Like I remember just about every single character that we meet. They're very memorable. Even like the one-off characters are very memorable, and distinct. The way that the characterization of Hellblazer John Constantine himself could have gone one way but doesn't. It retains the John Constantine we all know and loathe, because he's supposed to be an asshole character, so I say loathe instead of love. But like everything else is great, and that's why I give this a 7.5 out of 10. It's just a mess. It's just the actual reading of the book is a bit of a mess, but everything else is good, you know. And that goes a long way for Hellblazer. But that, as they say, is that.